Hello guys, welcome back to the Beastie Room. Now today we are going to attempt to pair our Poecilotheria rufilata, or which is commonly known as the red slate ornamental. Now this is one of my favourite spiders. She is absolutely stunning, and many of the ornamental spiders, the Poecilotheria, whichever way you want to pronounce it, it's pronounced many different ways. Yeah, many of them are browns and greys, and then of course we get the Metallica, which is the blue one, a really stunning blue, and then you get the others, and the red slate ornamental. She is more green and browns, absolutely stunning, really pretty spider. And these are one of the largest ones as well. You got the ornata, which is probably the largest, closely followed by the rufilata, which again is a very big spider. Now we've paired these together, and as you will see now in the video that's coming, it is a time-consuming thing. This took some time to actually film this and condense it into something that we could watch as a video, but you will see. Sit back, check it out, and I'll see you shortly. Well, welcome back to another pairing video. Today we're going to do our Poecilotheria rufilata, and he is just being coaxed out of his bachelor pad and into our female's enclosure. And remember, it's very important that we always put our males into our female's enclosure. Now, one of the things that we find with Poecilotheria is they can be quite shy, and within the genus, each particular one is quite different. Now we find that the rufilata here, they can be a little bit light sensitive, so they're more of a spider that you'll see in the evenings and early mornings. Now you can see our male here is absolutely stunning colour. Our female is in residence behind that piece of bark. And as you can see there, he is beginning to tap away. Now you'll see also as well, all on the side of the glass, the excrement and everything else from the spider, and very little webbing anywhere. So the pheromones that our male is picking up will be coming from some of this excrement, and also stuff that she's laid down as she's been out and about during the evening. Now we can clearly see the emboli there on the end of the pedipalps. The markings on these males are absolutely gorgeous. Another thing worth mentioning here is that many of the Poecilotheria, their actual tapping, the male's tapping, is very different. So it's they have a different rhythm to the way that they tap. So it's quite interesting, and this is something that sets each of the particular species within the genus apart. Here we go. This is the first sign of our female now. We can just see her toe poking out. Now she was in actual fact drumming very, very subtly behind that, and I'm not sure the audio managed to pick it up. The male is still tapping away. Here she comes. You can see there by the movements of her toes. She's actually getting quite excited behind the log. But we really need her to come and investigate. Come and see this little male that's come to visit her. Now this often takes a bit of time to actually encourage the female to leave the sanctuary of their hide. Bearing in mind that it's nice and dark behind there, it's quiet. And being slightly light sensitive, these guys don't particularly want to leave. So our males have to work extra hard. He's still tapping away. We can hear him in the background. Now in real terms, it probably took somewhere in the region of about half an hour to coax this female out from the beginning of the tapping until she finally showed herself. And we can see our male there, he's giving it the full-on body shake there. As you can see, the body shake there is always followed up by a tapping of the pedipalps. This is what you can actually hear on the glass. Here she comes. Now one of the things that we found with the Poecilotheria is it takes a long time for our females to drop. So we can be sort of 6-7 months after a pairing before we actually get to see an egg sac. So they tend to hold on for a very long time. You can see how well camouflaged she is back there as well. And you'll also note a completely different colour from the female to the male. Here she comes. Now the Rufilata, or commonly known as the red slate ornamental, are one of the larger in the genus. They can grow to a substantial size, literally right behind the ornata in terms of sheer volume of size. And there you go, you can see the sexual dimorphism between the two sexes there. The male obviously being on the left, our female on the right. Now you will notice also that our female has not stopped drumming. She's constantly tapping away all the time. Excuse my camera there. Always a good opportunity to get a still photograph. You can see with our female, she's got some absolutely gorgeous greens in her colour. These are one of the prettiest of the genus. Very, very pretty spider. And you can see our male now, he's actually drawing her out, and you can see she's going at a steady pace. She's coming out nice and gently. I would imagine she's feeling a little nervous, being with all the lights and everything on. You see the body shake that she's doing as well. Very similar to the males. Now we're getting a little bit more purposeful. You can see he's actually drawing her well away from her hide. Now maybe this makes him feel a little safer. Here we go. All the signs are good now. You see now as she's starting to reach out. These are very encouraging signs to see the female's pedipalps up in the air like this and the two front legs. But for some reason, our male did not take the opportunity. If only we could understand what wasn't quite right there. With some of these guys, they literally rush in and pair immediately, and others really take their time. And from the behaviour that we're getting from our spiders, it's very difficult to try and work out what wasn't correct. What was it that made our male hesitate at that point, which seemed like an absolutely perfect moment? But you can see there he's throbbing away again. Now our female, it's almost like she's realised, hang on a minute, I'm a little bit far away from home. She's had enough. Look at that, she's gone straight back. Has he lost his moment? Now he's going to have to work extra hard now in order to pull her back out from her hide. And you can see he's in fine condition. And you can also see the green hues within his carapace and on his legs. But then he's also got this very faint, almost creamy, orangey sort of colour to him. They really are a spectacular looking male. Now the tapping and the vibrations that are going through that piece of log will be amplified by the wood. And she will be left in no uncertain terms of what he's all about. Now he spent some time actually trying to coax her out, and she's finally given in, and she's on her way. And as you can see again, she's constantly moving. She appears to be quite fidgety. And he's trying to pull her forward again now. There we go, we have good contact now. Yeah, he's starting to get more and more excited as we move along. Here we go, we're going to go for it. Don't look like he quite made it there. Where she's hanging upside down, this sometimes makes the abdomen quite difficult for the male to access, because quite often or not the abdomen is falling away. As you can see, he's looking for a better angle. You can see the tempo is really picking up with our male now. He's becoming quite forceful without shaking, throbbing of the body. He's pulling her out a little bit more each time. And I must say our female has been very relaxed, very calm. Here we go, he's starting to rev up a little bit. Here we go, we're going to try again. That's possibly an insemination just there. It's very difficult to tell at the moment. When we've seen others pair in the past, they normally almost like stab at the female and then do a runner. But it looked like for a moment there, it looked like that guy literally just settled there. So we're not 100% sure whether he has done the deed. The fact that he's still there and willing to try again suggests that maybe he didn't. Again, it's when the behaviour like this just goes to show how when you're pairing your spiders, you really do need to allow some time that is uninterrupted so you can just concentrate on what your spiders are doing. Sometimes they can be very, very slow. And courtship can be quite a drawn out process. But there's nothing we can do to speed this up. We have to go at the spider's pace. And you can see sometimes how reluctant the female is to actually help in any way. She's just sort of like staying there and basically saying to him, if you want it, you're going to have to come and get it. Which makes our males a little bit on the cautious side, because he doesn't want to end up being lunch. So he's trying to wait for that optimum moment where all is perfectly well. Now, you would have thought earlier on when they were on the glass, that would have been the perfect moment. Here we go. Look, he's starting to get a little bit frustrated now. You can see the throbbing is becoming intensified. The tapping away as well. Here we go. We're going to go for it again. Now you can see there, he's reached right the way down. He's looking very, very hopeful. Now, that was a possible insemination there? And we can see now how our female has calmed down a little bit. She's not waving quite as much as she was, although our male is still going strong. There we go. She looks like she's coming out a bit more. This could be just what we're after. Look at the colours of that girl. Absolutely stunning. It's taken nearly 2 years for this girl to mature. We've had her from a sling. Here we go. Now this is looking good. Ooh. Did we or didn't we? I'm not so sure. Absolutely beautiful spiders. It's looking like he's lost his chance. She's given up. And she's retreating back behind her log. He's still tapping. This is it's very, very interesting now to see whether anything has actually happened. Now we can get a real nice close-up of our male now. And you can just appreciate the beauty of these spiders. It's often not until we get a nice close-up like this that we actually really do get to see everything about them. And you can see there, he's still tapping away. He's still very keen. Now what we can do with this particular spider is we can leave him in with our female, and he will cohabit with her for the next week or two. And in fact, when we left him in there, the following day, he did in fact build a new sperm web. So we normally take it that when we see a sperm web being built, when they're cohabiting, then that is normally a good sign that a pairing has actually taken place. And this is one of the good things with the Pisotheria genus, is that many of them will cohabit for, sometimes days, sometimes weeks at a time. They're not particularly hard on the males, they're reasonably good, most of them. The ornatas can be a little bit tricky, but we found the Rufilata are very good, the Metallica are very, very, very good. So we can quite often leave them be. As you can see now, our male has actually moved over to the side of the glass and he's settling down now. So was that a successful pairing? He looks like he's had enough. You can see there the intensity of the throbbing and everything has pretty much stopped. And he's starting to settle down. He's going to, he's looking like he's going to go to sleep. Well, fingers crossed. We will see what happens and see what the future brings. And hopefully this handsome little fella has done the job. Well, what did you think to that? That was nail-biting stuff. I've got to admit, that took probably, I think we were filming that for maybe about 4 or 5 hours. It took a long, long time. It was a difficult pairing in terms of our male got flustered very, very quickly. When we were trying to move him into the female's enclosure, he was quite belligerent and very flighty, very jumpy. And when we got him in there, he literally sat there and he didn't move for maybe 45 minutes or so. Not a muscle. He literally stayed put. And then we had to try and gently coax him out of that sort of stupor. And this is something that we often find with our spiders. If you get seriously defensive spiders, like the funnel webs, for example, sometimes they can go into a threat pose and they can hold that pose for a long, long time. And sometimes you have to almost tickle them out of it because they are literally stuck in it. And it's like they don't know how to move. So we have to sort of just tickle them, get them to move again. And then they'll carry on and do their normal thing. It's a very, very strange thing that they fall into. And our male had done exactly that. He'd gone in there, hit the substrate, and then just stopped. He was like frozen. So we left him for a good long time. And then eventually we just tickled his feet on the back and he started to walk off. And then eventually, once he started to make a bit of a movement, he picked up the pheromones and then he suddenly realized what it was all about and why he was there. And then he started to work. But you would have seen there, he was tapping on the glass, he was working his magic, and it took a little while for her to respond. She was behind that nice, lovely long piece of bark. Now, we could hear her just gently tapping. I don't think the audio picked it up, but we could hear her very, very gently tapping. And then eventually she came out and you saw that gorgeous colour, that green on the top with the yellow underneath. Fantastic looking spider, really, really pretty. Now, as pretty as they are, we don't see an awful lot of her. She is very, very shy. And the time we see her the most is in the mornings when we come in and we put the lights on. That's when she'll be out and about. And she'll quite often stay out with the lights on then for maybe half an hour or so, and then she'll retreat back home. But she don't come out until the dead of night. So trying to pair her in daylight was quite a tricky scenario. So we basically waited until it was evening so that her body clock was telling her it was getting near to getting dark, but obviously the lights were on. So we had to try and fool her a little bit. But once she realized that male was there, it didn't seem to affect her. And she came out and she done the business. But then you notice at one point there, she almost just lost interest and she went back home. And that was, I think, sometimes they get frustrated with the males because the males are just not committed enough. And it's almost like she just gave up and she went back home. And I thought it was all going to be over with then. But as luck would have it, he persisted and she did come out again. Now we see there that he had 2, 3 good attempts at insemination. One of them appeared like he did inseminate, But quite often with the ornamental spiders, it's normally a stab and run, and that's what we were looking for. But this time he actually seemed to hold her there at one point, and it seemed like that he was working away, but we're not 100% sure. So time will tell. Now, this is the first attempt that we done with him. We did, in fact, eventually, we left him in there, and he stayed in there for about 2 weeks with no issues whatsoever, and he was perfectly fine. And he did, in fact, make another sperm web inside the enclosure. So we took it that that sperm web was an indication that he's had a successful insemination, and we removed him then. So he's now come out, he's lived to see another day, and he's ready to go off and find another girlfriend. So fingers crossed, we're onto a good one. Only time will tell now. It can take anywhere between 4 and 7 months for these guys to drop. They can be a very, very long time. We've got Regalis at the moment, which are on egg sacs, 2 females, and they both took 6 months to actually drop. So it's a very, very long period of time between actual pairing and producing an egg sac. Very long time indeed. So yeah, we just touch wood. Hopefully we've done the job, and time will tell. Right. Well, I hope you enjoyed that. Visually, I think it was lovely. It really did look nice. And don't forget, be calm, be gentle, and love your spider. And I will see you soon, guys.